My guess is you've heard plenty of reasons why you should buy the new FlightScope Mevo Gen 2. And I'll admit, a lot of those reasons are legit. The Gen 2 is a very solid launch monitor. I mean, it's FlightScope. And for less than $1,200, you get elite level data tracking, no subscription fee, and a built-in simulation that might make the Gen 2 a great value. Quite honestly, it's a beautiful device. But I gotta say, for a lot of golfers, I don't think the Gen 2 is the right fit. I think many of you would be way better off with a different launch monitor. And in today's video, I'm gonna share with you the 5 big reasons why I think you're gonna want something other than the Mevo Gen 2. So let's do this. Okay, reason number 1, no pro package or face impact location. Let's start with the biggest elephant in the room. Yes, the Mevo Gen 2 runs on the same fusion tracking as the Mevo Plus and even the $15,000 X3C. Yes, it directly measures 18 ball and club parameters, which is great. But if you've done your homework, you probably know that the Mevo Plus offers upgrade paths, the Pro package, and the face impact location that take the data to a whole other level. Now with the Pro package, you unlock advanced club metrics like face to path, dynamic loft, swing plane, low point, and vertical descent angle. And with face impact location, you literally see strike heat maps on the club face. Now that's huge for fitters or a coach or serious players who just want the most detailed feedback. But here's the problem. The Gen 2 doesn't support any of those upgrades. Well, at least not today. Could that change in the future? Well, maybe, I guess. The hardware is capable and the Gen 2 runs the same fusion tracking engine as the Mevo Plus. But as of right now, if you buy a Gen 2, you're just buying a closed system. What you see is what you get. And for a lot of golfers, that's great. But if you're the kind of player who wants all the numbers, or you think you might want them later on, you're probably gonna outgrow the Gen 2 unless they upgrade it. So that means you either buy the Mevo Plus while you still can, or you wait and see if FlightScope eventually opens up those upgrades to the Gen 2 platform. But as of today, the Mevo Plus is still the only way to guarantee you can unlock every layer of data. So, reason number 1 not to get the Gen 2, limit expandability. Reason number 2, it demands a lot of space. But this is the classic radar launch monitor issue, and it's not gonna go away with the Gen 2, because the Gen 2 reads shots via Doppler radar combined with synchronized image processing. So it needs space to work. Specifically, you need 8 feet behind the ball or the unit itself, and another 8 feet in front of the ball if you're hitting it indoors. So that's a minimum of 16 total feet of clear runway. So if you're outside at the range, no problem. But if you're setting up a home simulator in your garage or basement, this can be a real deal breaker. And not everyone has that kind of space. And here's where camera-based competitors like the Square Golf Launch Monitor have an advantage. They're more forgiving indoors because they sit to the side of the golf ball and therefore require a lot less room depth. So if you've got a tight setup and you're dreaming of a home simulator, then the Mevo Gen 2 might not physically fit your space. And that's something you're definitely gonna wanna consider before you go drop $1,200. So reason number 2 not to buy the Gen 2 is you need a bigger room. Okay, number 3, the app experience is a little dated, and I'm sorry about that. Now let's talk software. First of all, one of the great things about FlightScope is they're not gonna nickel and dime you with subscriptions. You can get the FS Golf app, you get E6 Connect with 8 included courses, and really you're good to go. There's no ongoing fees unless you opt for third-party software. That's awesome. But here's the flip side. Compare this to the Rapsodo and even the Garmin and what they're doing with their apps. The FS Golf interface is starting to look super old. And don't get me wrong, it works. I mean, you get customizable dashboards, data history, video capture, and all the core functionality you're gonna need. But it's really not that flashy. The graphics and the menus feel a step behind the modern, gamified, highly polished experience you get in competing apps. For example, Rapsodo's premium subscription gives you session summaries, insights compared to different handicap levels, and practice recommendations. Hell, Garmin's Home Key Hero Simulator lets you play courses in the world mapped out by GPS. FlightScope, they're still very much about the raw data, which is great if that's what you want. But if you're someone who values slick software, gamified training, or a more modern user interface, then Gen 2 might feel a little bare bones. So reason number 3 not to buy the Gen 2 is that the software actually kind of lags behind newer competitors. Okay, reason number 4. It's priced in a tough middle ground. Let's talk about dollars and cents. At $1,200, the Gen 2 is significantly more expensive than options like the R10 at $599, the Swing Caddy SC4, which is $599, The Rapsodo MLM2 Pro, which is kind of $699 and you get a subscription. The Square is like $699. Yeah, the Gen 2 avoids subscriptions, and that's great. And over time, the cost difference can shrink, especially compared to the MLM2 Pro, which basically requires a $200 annual membership to unlock its best features. But still, $1,200 is a lot of money. It's a lot of money in my world. And in the middle ground where some golfers might think, why not just spend a little bit more and get the Mevo Plus with the Pro package? Or conversely, why not save a few $100 and get the Rapsodo with video built in with the camera or the Square? So in other words, the Gen 2 sits in this awkward in-between space. It's like pricier than the consumer-friendly unit, but it doesn't quite replace the full firepower of the Mevo Plus with its upgrades. And that's something buyers need to think about. So are you really saving money compared to a fully loaded Mevo Plus? Or would you rather spend less upfront or in MLM2 Pro or for an R10 and even sacrifice some of its accuracy? So reason number 4 not to buy the Gen 2 is that the price point sits in that tricky middle zone that's kind of the no man's land right now. Okay, reason number 5, it's still a transition product. This one's a little more subtle, but it's worth mentioning. The Mevo Gen 2 isn't just a launch monitor, it's a strategic pivot for FlightScope. The company's already said the Gen 2 will eventually replace the Mevo Plus as their core product. Okay, great, when? Let's just talk about that. When's that gonna happen? So that Gen 2 is essentially the bridge device in the transition, and that can be a little risky. Right now, you don't know whether FlightScope is going to open the Pro package and the Face Impact upgrades for the Gen 2. They probably will. Maybe. When? Tell us. You don't know if future E6 bundles are going to be added. You don't know if more features are going to roll out, or if the Gen 2 is going to be a locked down version of the Mevo Plus. So in other words, the Gen 2 feels like it's still in its early days. You're buying into a product that isn't fully defined yet. Compare this to the Mevo Plus, which is already matured, already has upgrade paths, already has well-established feature sets. So reason number 5 not to buy the Gen 2 is that it's a product in transition, and you might be better off just waiting to see how FlightScope evolves it, and that's it. All right, so should you buy the FlightScope Mevo Gen 2? Let's bring this all together. Like I said at the start, I like this product. I think it offers tremendous accuracy, solid simulator compatibility, and a no subscription model that's really refreshing. For a lot of golfers, it's gonna be an awesome buy, but it's not perfect. And if you want advanced club data, if you've got a tight indoor space, if you love modern software, or if you don't want to buy into a product that's still evolving, then the Gen 2 may not be your best option. Luckily, we're at a point where there's so many great choices in the under $1,200 range that depending on what you want, either the Mevo Gen 2 or the Rapsodo or the MLM2 Pro or the Square, the R10 or Swing Caddy SC4, they're gonna give you just what you're looking for. And that's what's so great, because every device is gonna have its shortcomings, and this is just my opinion on these. So my advice is this: know your priorities. The raw accuracy without subscription is what you are most about. The Gen 2 is a killer deal. But if you're the type of golfer who wants either maximum features or maximum simplicity, then there's definitely better fits out there. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Have you tried the Mevo Gen 2? Are you considering buying it? Have you bought it already? I would love to know. Thanks for watching, and if you consider liking and subscribing, I always appreciate your support. But if you want to see my full list of the best launch monitors of the year, I tested them all, then check out this video right here, and I'll see you on the course.